Please welcome to the stage my father, Dr. Joel Wallach.
This DJ is so funky, man.
Oh, look out, here we come. Okay, a couple of quick announcements. When we're done here, I'm told from 2 to 4, I'll be outside signing books and taking pictures with you. And then we're announcing a new set from the Osmond Productions, you know, Donnie, Marie, and Jimmy and the bunch. This is a CD of my lecture, 2-hour lecture, the DVD, and the book called The Truth About Nutrition. You're going to start seeing this all over television. You get those things out, you're going to have more people to deal with and you know what to do. Okay, so these are available outside, and I'll sign them too. And then also Go Foods, 14 non-GMO, organic, and gluten-free dishes. Hooah! Okay, now we're going to go to work. Now, if you've been listening to my lectures for last year, you know that my passion is our kids. And experts tell us that our children are going to be the first generation of Americans that do not live as long as their parents. This is a catastrophic prediction of biblical proportions. We're talking about the Great Flood. We're talking about all of Egypt's firstborn dying because Pharaoh refused to release the Hebrew slaves. Can you imagine everybody in this room burying their children? This tells us how terribly the medical profession has failed us. And this is why Youngevity is here. And I love you because you're an army that's going to save our kids. God bless you for it. Hooah! Let's get started here. I got a 3-hour lecture to give in 30 minutes, so we're going to go fast. Let's see here. We get started. And they told me there's a delay. Okay, there we go. You know me. All right. And so some of this, you can just read it. We're going to start out with longevity because we want our kids to outlive us. Okay, so let's have a look and see where we're at and where we need to go. Forbes magazine back in 2004 said the average lifespan of billionaires in America is 78. And I actually made a CD called What Kills Billionaires. We sell a lot of those because people want to know, gosh, if billionaires are being killed by something, we need to know so we can at least avoid that. 7 years later, in March of 2011, they redid the study and said, billionaires are, average lifespan is only 66. They lost 12 years of average lifespan in 7 years. And that's because they hired the top personal trainers from the professional athletes. Bam! They were dead. They were the most expensive laboratory animals ever. The average lifespan of professional athletes is 62, except for football players is 51. I used to be able to say there's never been a professional athlete ever lived to be 100, but there's one little old guy from the Philadelphia, the baseball players, back 100 years ago. He just died at the age of 100 plus 3 days. So with the exception of that guy, there's never been a professional athlete ever lived to be 100. That tells you there's a problem, right? And so there's thousands of failed medical theories every century, and the 20th century and 21st century are no different. The two big ones, of course, is genetics. That's a failed theory. We know that genes do control your hair color, your eye color, your skin color, whether you be a boy or girl. Your genes control your liver, your heart, your muscles, your bones. If you need to make new bones, your bones will make bone cells. And if you need to make a new liver, your liver will make liver cells, all because of genetics. But it was an overreach by them to say all these diseases are caused by genetics. There's not a single disease that's transmitted by genetics. Of course, that's why the book Epigenetics is a bestseller at Amazon.com. Oh, very proud of that. Hooah! Okay, here we go. Let's go to the next one. Disability prevalence says the darker states are the ones that have the worst records. So you can look at the Great Lakes states, you can look at the Southeast, you can look at Nevada and New Mexico, and even Texas is not really good. Okay, California is not really good. You'll see in a moment. Let me back up there. Get back up. Oh, there we go. Okay, different types of, this one I want, okay. Now I wonder what Steve Jobs' mom and dad thought when they buried him at age 56. I wonder what Satoru Iwata's parents thought about when they buried him at age 55. I wonder what Vice President Joe Biden felt like when he buried his son Beau at age 46. I wonder what the king of Dubai felt like when he buried his son, who was supposed to be the king when the king died. Sheikh Rashid died at age 33 of a cardiomyopathy heart attack, a deficiency of a single mineral while he was running. You can look at him, know he was a fitness buff. I wonder what past President Jimmy Carter felt like when he buried his grandson Jeremy at age 28 from cardiomyopathy heart attack. You see, it doesn't matter how politically connected you are, it doesn't matter how rich you are, if you don't have the 90 essential nutrients, you are doomed to a life of misery and early death. Hooah! Pastor Rick Warren, very famous pastor, wrote a best-selling book. It's probably still a bestseller. I mean, it was one of the longest-running bestsellers. A purpose-driven life, saved many families. It helped so many people who were drifting in their lives. And his own son committed suicide at age 27. Now, they never listed why. They never mentioned a note or anything like that. But if you think about it, you will come up with why he committed suicide. Female life expectancy in America, this was 1990, Harvard Medical School, said that in the counties, this is county by county, the red, orange, and yellow counties are the shortest lived, and the counties in the dark blue are the longest lived. There's a 25-year difference. Everybody in the Southeast, the old Confederate states, and out kind of Southwest and the Indian Reservation up in the Dakotas and Montana, they fry everything and don't take the 90. Males are the same way, same pattern. These are the 4 books you're going to need to add 25 to 50 healthy years to the life of your kids, yourself, and everybody you love. Black Gene Lies, the information is good for white folks too. Epigenetics, the death of the genetic theory of disease transmission. Immortality, look at the top 20 longevity cultures on Earth. What fascinates me is that all top 20 longevity cultures, according to the National Geographic, not me, are third world cultures, have no doctors, no insurance, government or private, absolutely no emergency services, no hospital, no clinics, yet they have 40 times the 100-year-olds we do. They have 100-year-old per 250 of their population. We Americans only have 1 per 10,000. They have no amenities, no utilities, no roads, no cars. They live on a calorie-restricted diet, not because they know the science. They're just so poor they can only afford 600 to 900 calories a day. Americans take in 2,500 to 4,000 calories a day. Rare Earth Cures was the first place that a study was done on epigenetics. You'll see that in a moment. Some of this we're going to go fast through it so you can read the books and listen to the CDs. I don't know, I'm not getting a response here. Can you advance that one for me? It doesn't want to go. Hello. There we go. This baby will live to be 120. This baby could live to be 142. That's because they're doing it in those countries. I'm I'm just letting you read the headlines here. These are the longest lived people on earth. The Huns in the Hunza Valley and the Karakoram Mountains, separating out Pakistan, northern Pakistan from China. They literally live in the biblical land flowing with milk and honey. The Giltar Glacier, the water comes out from underneath it, looks like milk, and it's because of all the minerals in the water. And there's more species of bees, more wild honey around the Giltar Glacier than any place else in the world because bees like minerals. The land flowing with milk and honey. They live at 13,000-foot elevation. You can see their third world culture. They don't have any doctors or insurance or hospitals or clinics, emergency services, yet they're the longest of people on earth. Okinawa, everybody in Okinawa doesn't live to be an old person. Most of them live to be 52. They have 10 different fried chicken places on every block. One little valley in Okinawa, the people live to be an average about 85. This is one of the oldest fellows there, Mr. Taguchi, and spent a lot of time with him, so we know exactly what they do and what they don't do. I don't know how she got in there. 112. Come on, come on. We need some help here. Advance, 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 advance. Anybody help me here? There we go. Now this is the lady I want to go dancing with. She's 97 years old. She's the lead singer in a pop group from Okinawa, Haru Yamashiro. Look at her energy at 97. You got to love her. Now, this just came out in January of this year. It's claimed that this lady here, Mama Esafiho, is 191 years old in the Delta State from Nigeria, and we've requested some information to confirm why they came up with that. This is confirmed and well documented. Li Qingyun lived to be 256 years of age, born in 1677, died May 6, 1933. His entire obituary in the New York Times is in the book Rare Earths and Cures. It tells the story because it's about rare earths. Our bodies need 90 essential nutrients. Hooah! 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 3 fatty acids, and our genes, our DNA, and our RNA, and our telomeres, little end caps in our chromosome, are the part of our body that needs these nutrients. The medical doctor's thinking stopped at eat the 7-food group pyramid. That was too complicated for them, so they broke it down to the 4 food groups. That was too complicated for them. Now they say just eat 4 colors. But if you want to maximize your genetic potential for health and longevity and fending off disease and intelligence and speed and strength and doing all the things you have the capacity to do, maximize your genetic potential. You need 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 3 fatty acids, every second of every minute of every hour of every day of every week of every month of every year, forever. How long do you need water for life? How long do you need oxygen for life? How long do you need the 90 for life for life? Hooah! Evander Holyfield, we rebuilt him after he had his heart attack. He came back and boxed for 8 more years, even with a piece of his ear bitten off. Danny Glover, he was laid back and not doing any more of his movies that were high capacity. You know, we're doing all these jumping out of cars and beating each other up and stuff because he had a back and hip problem. We rebuilt him, and now he's back doing these movies again. Pat Boone, you know, ladies, April Love, remember that? He was reduced to selling walk-in bathtubs on TV so he could pay his mortgage. Now he's back on the road again doing tours, and he is having the time of his life because of the 90 for Life program. Willie Nelson had claw hands 12 years ago. He couldn't play the guitar anymore. Now he's on the road again. Hooah! And our own Drew Pearson, right, caught the Hail Mary pass from Roger Staubach, helped Dallas Cowboys win the Super Bowl in the last seconds. And he's with us, a great mentor of all of us, a great example, and we just love him to pieces, and thank you, Drew. Hooah! Now, this was the first study ever done. This was the first scientific study ever done in epigenetics. This is in that book, Rare Earths and Cures. And this is one that I did in St. Louis. Perkins was given a hydroponics machine to grow wheatgrass and stuff like that and barley grass. And he said, Wallach, I just can't give this to the animals in the zoo. They might die, so you need to test it and make sure everything's okay. So to make a long story short, we got 100 fertile duck eggs from the same pair of mallard ducks. Mama, daddy, the same. We kept stealing them until she laid 125. We got 100 of them, 4 groups of 25. Group number 1, we gave iceberg lettuce to. You see how big it is. Group number 2, hydroponically grown barley grass. It was about 20% bigger. Look at the difference in the size of the head and the length of the body and the size of the pelvis. And then the duck pellets from Ralston Purina, he's twice as big as the other 2 groups. But look at baby Huey, number 4. You got the hydroponically grown barley grass and the duck pellets from Ralston Purina. Which one got the 90 essential nutrients that maximize their genetic potential? Group number 4, the Huey group. Same genetics. The only difference in genetics was some were boys, some were girls. And people had talked about outside influences affecting how our genes work, but this was the first experiment that had ever been done and published. Very, very proud of that. Hooah! And the study I did with Perkins and the Washington University and St. Louis Zoo and the Shaw's Botanical Gardens, over 20,000 autopsies, 10 million chemistries, 10 million special stains. We eliminated 900 different diseases in the zoo animals. We tripled their lifespans, eliminated every birth defect you can name, and 10 times as many you can. And that's what got me excited, because if you can have a crocodile with type 2 diabetes and a hummingbird and a deer with sickle cell anemia, which are supposed to be genetic diseases of humans, how did they get them, right? So it had to be that these were nutritional deficiencies of any vertebrate. All vertebrates get the same nutritional deficiency, get the same disease. And we've been doing this in longevity now for 38 years, and guess what? It works. And now we're going to take it to the world. We're going to save our kids. God bless you. Whoa! Okay, how much time do I have? 10, 15 minutes left? Okay. Okay. Okay, I just need to know how fast to go. Okay. Now, 5, 6, 7,000 years ago, pharaohs and kings and generals and successful businessmen paid grave robbers bags of gold, even worth millions of dollars today, bags of gold and silver, to bring them mummies. And they would grind up the mummies into what they called mummy dust. And the mummy dust, they used like condiments. They'd sprinkle it on their food like salt and pepper, because of the longevity factor of being a mummy. They're supposed to live in the afterworld forever, and that's why they killed all their soldiers and their favorite horses and their 400 wives and all that kind of stuff, and so they could take all these people they loved with them, right? So the average person, slaves couldn't afford mummy dust, so how did they get their minerals? Well, this article here in Scientific American said people began to get smarter, they were more creative, they lived longer as soon as they began to eat cooked food. That's absolutely positively not true. It's because they cooked the food, not because they ate the cooked food. Because what was the universal fuel 5,000 years ago? Wood. And the consequences of burning wood for fuel, whether it's for cooking or heating water or light, whatever it was they had ashes. Now, the wood ashes are not really ashes. 95 to 98% of that powder, that volume of powder that comes from burning wood, are really the minerals that the tree sucked up out of the ground. It might be gray or black because there's some carbon left in it. But the trees would suck up these minerals out of the ground, burnt the wood. We would fertilize gardens for 5, 6, 7,000 years with wood ashes, a.k.a. plant minerals, a.k.a. wood ashes. And the pumpkins and the squash and the okra and the tomatoes and the peas and beans and potatoes and onions and corn would suck up all these minerals, and nobody knew it then, nobody knows it now. Only you and God knows this, okay? People who are environmentalists don't know this. Elected officials don't know it. Certainly doctors don't know it. Pharmacists don't know it. The plants would suck up those minerals. They ate the plants, and that's how they unknowingly, for 5,000 years, got their nutritional minerals. It was by eating plants that were grown in gardens, fertilized with wood ashes. That's been going on for 5,000 years. That went on for 5,000 years, thousands of years, thousands of years, thousands of years, until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882, on Pearl Street in New York City, in the bluff overlooking the construction of Brooklyn Bridge, this fella here, Thomas, I'm sorry, that's a wood stove, obviously. This fella here, Thomas Edison, back up. Thomas Edison pulled the switch on the first commercial electric generating plant. And within 10 years, every city, every industrialized nation converted over to electricity from wood as the universal fuel. Now, this began the downward spiral of Americans and people in the industrialized world, across the world, because How many wood ashes are left over every morning in your home when you fuel your home with electricity? 0. And what did people replace their traditional source of nutritional minerals with? Nothing, because they didn't know it was in the ashes they were fertilizing their plants with. What was the most fertile and most expensive farmland, agricultural land, 5,000 years ago and even yet today around the world? Floodplains. When the flood waters would recede in the fields every year, what did it leave behind? Silt, which were minerals from mountains hundreds or maybe even thousands of miles upstream. Now, the farmer pushed that silt off to the side before he planted? No, he plowed it in and renewed the minerals in the soil every year, plus throwing the wood ashes out in the gardens. Well, politicians are politicians, even 5,000 years ago. You vote for me, you'll get free medical care. But you're going to pay $4 a gallon gasoline to pay for the free medical care. Ask the Canadians how they enjoy their $4 a gallon. They don't like it. Okay, and then you vote for me, we're going to have electricity in every home. Clean, safe, cheap, and convenient. And everybody voted for them, and they had the TVA, Tennessee Valley Authority, electrified about 12 states. The Hoover Dam, damming up the Colorado River, dammed up another 15 states. So about 25, 30 states were electrified just from those two river hydroelectric plant systems, damming up the rivers. And there was an unintended consequence, which initially everybody thought was a good deal. The unintended consequence of these hydroelectric plants was flood control. No more flooding, no more silt. By 1936, we had the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl because our soil was dead. All because they dammed up all the big rivers for electricity. And Granny would say, shouldn't I be supplementing with something that says on the radio I need to take some vitamins and minerals? Well, interfere with our prescriptions. You can't take vitamins and minerals. You can't take vitamins and minerals. You'll have expensive urine. You're just wasting your money. You're just peeing it all away. Bam! Grandma was dead. Because she listened to the doctor. Well, according to the World Health Organization, right now there's 960,000 dams in the world. And they've cut off the food supply to our fields. No more silt every spring. It got worse because it also shut off the food supply to the ocean. The ocean is dying, no doubt about it. The ocean is dying very rapidly now. It's just in a terrible downward accelerating spiral. If you see an Atlantic salmon on a menu in a restaurant that's raised in a pond in Texas, unless it says wild caught, and you'll notice the difference. The one that's raised in a pond in Texas will cost you $40 for a 4-ounce filet dinner. But if it says wild caught Atlantic salmon, you're looking at $80 a plate. Because they can't send out a fleet of boats to catch salmon anymore because, as they say in France, they just ain't there anymore. Because we cut off the food supply to the ocean by damming up the rivers for electricity. No more silt getting to the ocean, which was the fertilizer for the ocean. The silt was the fertilizer for the ocean. Where's the most fertile places in the ocean? The deltas, where the rivers would come into the ocean and the silt would build up. That's where all the fishermen would go. They'd always go to the deltas because that's where all the fish were. Not anymore. Whales are washing up on the beach now each year by the hundreds. Big heads. Their bodies are just skin and bones. Actually, literally no muscle and no fat in there anymore because there's no food in the ocean for them. Sharks are eating people in the United States, which they didn't used to do. I want you to think back to the Beach Boy days and the surfing days. Was there any reports of shark attacks around the Hawaii Islands or on the west coast of California? No. Never. Last year it set a record, 58. Around Hawaii alone. Southern California, agricultural land, satellite photograph from 100 miles up. What I want you to see here is nutritional minerals do not occur in a uniform blanket around the crust of the earth. They occur in veins like chocolate and chocolate ice cream. So if you grow soybeans, that 100 square miles you're looking at down there, they're not going to have all the same nutrition in it. Plants only need 3 minerals. Vertebrates, including human beings, require 60 minerals. Plants only need 3. You look at a tomato, you're going to spend $2,500 every meal to analyze your food to see which minerals you're going to add. It's much cheaper just to do the 90 Guarantee you're going to have everything you need, and then whatever you get from your food is value added. If you do not supplement your kids, you'll be burying your kids. You'll be standing at your gravesite burying your kids. That's what experts are saying now. I thought this was kind of interesting. This is the Huckleberry Dam on the Huckleberry River in North Carolina going out to the Atlantic Ocean. And this river, before it hits this falls, originates a couple hundred miles northwest of this point. And as it goes around the various bends in the river, there's different clay deposits. And I want you to see how all the way down the river, those clay deposits are so different, they stay in their own little tracks in the river and in the falls. Isn't that beautiful? But it never makes the ocean because there's a hydroelectric plant 10 miles south of this falls. How many of you have ever been to the Youngevity Source of Minerals? Raise your hand if you've been there. Oh, it's only a couple of dozen. Okay. Every year, we take a tour out there, and this year will be no different. We're going to take a tour out there, maybe 2 or 3 or 8 or 10. Okay. This is drop-dead, gluten-free, drop-dead, organic, 78 minerals. It's a compost. This is not fossilized or rock. You put your hand in there, come out, it's like a handful of coffee grounds. We have a 100 cubic mile supply here, 100 cubic miles. Very proud of that. 78 minerals, all 60 essential minerals in optimal ratios. You know the Shar? Now, April 7th was her birthday. She turned 73, and she's been with us for 25 years. Does she look like she's 73? No way. She takes the 90 twice a day for the amount for a 200-pound man. I asked her one time, Shar, why are you taking so much stuff? She says, I'm going to live to be 200. We knew in 1936 that our soil was depleted, but they didn't express a theory of why. They didn't think about the dams cutting off the food supply to the fields. They didn't think about the electricity eliminating our source of minerals in our diet. This is the one that really gets you. This one will bring tears to your eyes. This is a very well-respected chemistry journal. It's called Food Chemistry. They harvest food from all over North America, Canada, United States, and Mexico every month, obviously in the southern tier of states and countries during the wintertime. But the important thing is they would publish that every month, and I kept track of it because they also had the amount of pollution that was in our various foods from various locations. But in this particular issue of Food Chemistry, April 16, 2012, they identified and looked at the top 8 baby formulas in North America. Similac, Enfamil, Carnation, Gerber's, ones you're very familiar with. And they said, these baby foods, well-respected baby foods, contain less than 20% the required minerals and vitamins necessary for proper development of our children, less than 20%. Dog food has 100%. Chicken food has 100%. Laboratory rat food has 100%. Sheep, pig, cow, horse food has 100%. And your babies have less than 20% because a medical doctor formulated it and knows nothing about nutrition? Somebody needs to go to jail. Hooah! This was an article out of their newspaper out there. Their equivalent of USA Today is called the Globe and Mail. This medical doctor didn't like it that we were up there working hard and had so many of their people come into our meetings. And so he wrote an article and said, why wouldn't you just eat these fresh vegetables and fruit instead of taking all those vitamins and minerals? Well, you know the reason. Plants only need 3 minerals. We need 60. Can you guarantee that fresh fruit and vegetables has all 60 essential minerals? No, I can guarantee they don't. So if you don't supplement them, your children, you'll be standing at your gravesite burying them. This was a 100-year study by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. It came out April. Whoa! This was a 100-year study. Started April 15th, 1912, or 14, excuse me, 1912. And then went to April 15th, 2012. Okay? They said our farm soils are depleted of vital minerals, and as a result, our foods are literally starved of nutrition. Our medicine alone cannot compensate for this deficiency. U.S. Senate Document 264, 1936. The summary of the study was, the minerals in our soil over the past 100 years are depleted by 85%. You can see their table on that. That's their chart, not mine. Look at it in 1910. Look at the amount of minerals in our food today, in our soil today in 2006. USDA also reports that 95% of all Americans are minerally deficient. Now, you and I might be able to squeak by an extra week or two when we're minerally deficient, but our babies that are growing and developing, without all 90 essential nutrients, particularly minerals, they're doomed to die an early death. We're responsible now. You can't unlearn what you've learned. These I'm going to go by fast. If I go too fast, it'll freeze up for a minute or two, so I got to go at a certain speed. You get the drift of it. Decrease in iron in food from 51 to 2001, a 50-year difference. This is at 1951. Let's see what's it. There it is in 2001. Just iron, just looking at iron alone. No more wood ashes, no more silt. Plants can make vitamins and amino acids and fatty acids, but plants cannot manufacture minerals. They must get them from the soil. Obesity rates continue to climb. Obesity is not eating too much and lack of exercise. Obesity is just a simple nutritional deficiency. Disability prevalence, again, look at the darkest states there, the Great Lakes states in the southeast and Nevada and New Mexico. Percentage of adults whose heart age is 5 or more years older than their chronological age. Again, look at the southeast and the Great Lakes states. Heart disease death rates. The darkest ones have the worst records. Again, the Great Lakes states and the old Confederate states. And look at California. We're not doing too good. This is cancer. Why does Kentucky have the highest cancer rate in America? Kentucky Fried Chicken! You think about it. Anybody here know of a pastor in your lifetime, a pastor, a good God-fearing pastor who preaches the word perfectly every Sunday? Do you know of any one of them that's lived to be 120 as God commanded? No. That's because everybody in their church loves them and they bring them fried chicken after church every Sunday. Bam, they're dead. You've seen this one earlier this afternoon, life expectancy, males and females. Okay, last two slides. You know the convenience here of the Healthy Start Pack. Everybody needs the 90 essential nutrients. If you give this to a 50-pound kid, it's a 2-month supply. Give it to a 30-pound kid, it's a 3-month supply. Give it to 200-pound adults, it's a 2-week supply. We have secret sauces. What would you use the Healthy Weight Loss Pack for? Well, you're a smart group, okay? What would you use the Healthy Blood Sugar for? Healthy Blood Sugar Pack. Diabetes. Okay, what would you use the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack for? You got it. Or osteopenia, osteoporosis, bone spurs, kidney stones, periodontal disease, which is osteoporosis of the face. What would you use the Healthy Sports Pack for? Athletics, or somebody who's doing hard physical work and sweating. What about the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack? Anything going on with the brain, the heart, the liver, the kidneys, the muscle, anything going on. You want the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. Beginning to get the picture here? This is not difficult. We can train people very quickly to do this and save our kids. Hooah. Very last slide. Very last slide. People always ask me, okay, Doc, what do you take? Well, since 1970, twice a day I've been taking all 90 essential nutrients. Obviously, 70 years ago, it wasn't in this form. It was a mixture of alfalfa pellets from calves that had all the vitamins and minerals, all 90 essential nutrients in it, and I would mix some dog food in there, you know, and I'd put chicken food in there. I was making my little meatloaf and everything. I got my 90 essential nutrients twice a day starting at 9 years of age. This is a little more sophisticated, thank God. And this is a 2-week supply for me. There's about 3 or 4 things missing in there, including the triple treat chocolate and stuff like that. But you get the gist of it, okay? Now, really, when people start, there's nothing wrong with them. They don't feel they have any problems. They could take the Healthy Start Pack 2.0, 1 per 100 pounds of body weight, and they'll get themselves in pretty good shape, as long as they stay away from the bad foods. You got to stay away from the bad foods and do the 90, right? But I have to take everything. I take all the secret sauces for over 900 different diseases. Why? Because I cannot afford to die politically before 200 years of age. Hooah! Now, I want you to think of me as Babe Ruth pointing out the center field saying, 200 years is not enough. And I've also got about, I don't know, a couple hundred people who've committed with me. They're doing the same thing. And so if you want to join me, you got to do a little bit more than the Healthy Start Pack. Now, you can kind of grow into that as you get bigger. I wouldn't, lose your house because you're you want to do it as you can afford it. But that's the beauty of longevity. Look, let's give these guys a hand that put all this new media stuff together, all this new wonderful techie stuff. Viva Longevity Nation!